Alright everybody, welcome back to another Friday Night Magic tournament at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia. My name is Zachary Evans. I'm here with Brett Rose.
How are you folks doing?
And we have once again, I always stumble right out the gates every time. Once again, we're bringing you another standard Magic tournament from Lost Legion Games. Hold on just a second until these guys is good to go. Dave, ready when you are. Alright. So, we have for you tonight a 5-round standard tournament. Most important about that is this is the first chance that most of these guys have had the opportunity to play with Return to Ravnica cards. So, let's discuss the gentlemen that we have for you tonight in the feature match area. Everyone at their shop has the local legend. There's always one guy at every shop who is everyone's fan favorite. And that person at our shop is a Mr. Dave Brown. Dave is almost exclusively and entirely an EDH player. I think he has recently cut down his collection of EDH decks from like 15 to a more manageable 6 or 7. But Dave has not played Standard in many moons. And when we started doing this broadcast again, I told him that if he sleeved up a Standard deck, that we would give him a feature match. Technically, he's not sleeved anything up, but this is another classic Dave Brown thing. So right off the front here, we're just going to have a fun casual match. He's playing John Ellington, another one of our new players here at the store, and this should be interesting. I don't know what John's playing. Have you played against him in past weeks?
No, I have not.
I know his brother plays. His brother's been on the stream before, and he played a vampire deck that, of course, was before rotation, as Dave used to say.
The pile shuffle.
That's a real pile shuffle right there. So yeah, but Dave's everybody's favorite here at the shop, so we would gladly give him. And Dave also showing what he calls the whorehouse cut, which is always the top card on the bottom. So Dave resolving a mulligan to 6. He didn't tell me much about his deck. He told me that it was kind of janky, but Dave says that about every deck he plays. And I know that he's trying to win with Labratory Maniac, so this first round may not be the same metagame you see at States tomorrow or
ever
at FNM or ever in the future. But by golly, we're going to have some fun. So Dave leads off with the mulch, indicating that he is some sort of graveyard deck. Like I said, the only thing I know about this deck is he wants to win with Labratory Maniac, so it seems only fitting that he's trying to burn through his deck. Did you see what he took off the mulch?
I think it was a forest. He's got a syncopate in there. I've never seen him play counter spells.
And that is a splatter thug, is it not?
Yes. Not released. No. That is the guild mage.
The Rakdos guild mage?
Yes, because splatter thug is a 3 cost.
Alright, fine. You're just proving that I don't know what I'm talking about. So once again, for those of you joining us, we're starting out this week's FNM with a fun casual match between two competitors who have brought their own homebrew tonight. We'll get into the likely Tier 1 and Tier 1.5 decks here in the next coming 4 rounds, but for right now we're watching John Ellington slap, was it Divine Favor, onto Guild Mage, and Dave's going to fog. I want to go on record as saying this is the only Magic stream that you could currently be watching right now where you're going to see a Rakdos Guild Mage and a Fog all in the same turn.
It seems good, right?
And for those of you in the chat indicating that Dave needs card sleeves, I think Dave would put card sleeves on his cards if any of his cards were worth more than a nickel. So that is a splatter thug, is it not?
Yes.
Okay, so John plays a splatter thug. Unleashed, so it's a 3/3 first striker.
Which seems pretty good for 3.
It is not bad for 3.
He's figuring it out. He'll get there eventually.
Now let me tell these guys. Just tap the bottom of the number.
Technology, obviously not the... Technology is a barrier in this match.
This is probably the highest production value web broadcast that's ever been presented to mankind. So little snafus like that are rare if it ever show up. But Dave is casting Forbidden Alchemy. Have you seen what's in Dave's hand?
No, he's kept it pretty well guarded here.
Yeah, I don't know what he's I don't know what he's trying to do. I'm going to be honest with you. I know that there's a Maniac in there. I don't know how well this is going to go, to be quite honest, but Dave is...
I think he's turbo fogging is basically what this is meant to do.
Yeah, I will try to get you a deck list after this game, but that's highly unlikely. I actually do have a couple deck lists from tonight. For those of you who are wondering about that in the chat, we do not... This is by no means a high enough sanctioning level that we have mandatory deck registration period, so we're just kind of winging it, although a few players have given me deck lists should they make it onto the camera tonight. So when that information is available, I will readily pass that on to everyone, either in the on the Facebook page or on the YouTube channel after we post the videos. But for right now, you guys are flying just as blind as we are, as I completely forget to start the clock. Yeah, we'll see. Say 37.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Give or take. Give or take. There's a Shred Freak. So John's deck is just like a budget beater deck, right?
Yeah.
So he's taking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
4 and 3 should be 7.
7.
Where's the non coming from? 3 for Splatter Thug, 2.
He has the Divine Glee on it.
Oh, I forgot about that. Sorry.
Yeah, he's pumping that spell. So
after raving about how much I loved it, I actually forgot about its existence.
About Divine Glee?
Yeah.
Is it Divine Glee or Defiant Glee?
Let's find out.
Let's look. Use the handy dandy card sorter.
It might very well be Defiant Glee. Nope.
None of those are correct.
Deviant, maybe?
Deviant.
That sounds... yeah.
And actually now I completely recognize, because there was a comment on the YouTube video last week for the round where we were talking about that, and someone was making fun of the way we were pronouncing Deviant, because I think we were all pronouncing it Defiant Glee, which is a separate word, so we were not mispronouncing it.
They're pretty close.
As those of you who watched last week when we had our Return to Ravnica launch party drafts, unfortunately, due to some unforeseen illness, most of our coverage team had no idea what the cards were doing, so that was a train wreck. Is that Dave casting another fog effect?
Yes.
So Dave is basically on Turbo Fog Labratory Maniac playing here. I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it is, but I like it.
I saw some epic ramp spells whenever he was...
Well, he does have an Archaeomancer. Does he have 2 blue there? I think he's short on blue.
Yeah, he's got...
Because he has 1 fog in the... the old...
Scooper.
The old Game 1 handshake. So, just to recap, we are live at Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia, on this, the inaugural night of New Standard here at the shop. The shop is located in South Charleston, West Virginia, for those in the chat. We are playing a 5-round standard tournament tonight for FNM with a top 8. This, of course, one day before States, which we, God willing, barring any kinds of unforeseen circumstance, will be streaming tomorrow. So, I'll switch to the studio cam just so that we can, I'm Zach Evans, this is Brett Rose. Like I said, while they're shuffling up, let's talk about States. So tomorrow, as I conveniently get rid of Brett on the stream here. So 2012 States and Provincials will be held tomorrow and Sunday, depending upon your location. For more information, go to sleeveup.com. Now, I know it's going to be a very busy weekend. There is the first Grand Prix team format in many years being held in San Jose, at Grand Prix San Jose. There's a Star City Open weekend in Providence, and there's also various PTQs, not only around the country, but also regionally. So I know a lot of people are going to be busy. I'm a little bit disappointed about how States is kind of going unsupported anymore, but the fact of the matter is that Lost Legion is hosting States. It's going to be at the Beckley Convention Center in Beckley tomorrow, with registration starting at 9, players meeting at 10. Like I said, go to sleeveup.com for more information, not just on West Virginia States, but on all states and provincial tournaments to be held this weekend. Should be a good time. We are planning to stream it. So if you're not watching any of the other coverage tomorrow, feel free to tune in at our stream and watch everyone fight for bragging rights.
You mentioned a team event. What is that?
There is a Grand Prix in San Jose, California tomorrow, featuring a 3-person team event. The Swiss round will be team sealed, and the top 8. Well, I think that day 2 will be team draft, with the top 2 teams advancing to a final draft.
Okay.
They haven't had a team event in a long, long time, so there's a lot of old players that haven't played in a long time have coming out of the woodwork to go out there.
That actually sounds really fun.
Yeah, it is really fun. It's unfortunate that it's on the other side of the country for us. It's unfortunate that's on States weekend, because I know Wizards doesn't sponsor States anymore, and they're not necessarily all in on it, but they haven't even mentioned it on the website this year, and a lot of things like that. As we watch, for those of you at home who can't see, Brett Rose just opened a pack of Avacyn Restored and got a Cavern of Souls. So
boom, number 2.
We're running good here in the coverage booth as we see John get in there with the Rakdos Shredfeek.
Dave is just landing it up here. Out of curiosity, if you were Dave, would you save all of your fog effects for...
I would save them all for the turn before I was going to die.
Okay. Like, you wouldn't...
He's going to counter that one.
There we go.
I mean, fogs are only as good as... it doesn't matter whether you're preventing the first 2 points of damage or the last 2 points of damage in terms of how much the spell costs. So you might as well just use your early periods of the game digging through your deck and trying to find a win condition.
Seems right.
That's the way the Turbo Fog decks always work, and it's a old adage. They always talk about control decks, You use your life total as a resource.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you win at 1 life or 20. So
there's not a whole lot of burn floating around, so I guess he doesn't really have to worry about that too much.
No, he doesn't. There's not a lot of good burn spells left in Standard. They took away all my lightning bolt spread.
I know, it's terrible. What you have now, Shock?
No, Shock's not even in the format. It's Searing Spear,
Oh, that's...
Annihilating Fire, and Pillar of Flame. Brimstone Volley is your best burn spell anymore, and it's a 3-cost instant. It's a sad world for a red mage.
It really is.
Yeah, for those of you on the stream who are just joining us for the first time and seeing the seeing the decks that are being played, this is a favor I owe to shop legend Dave Brown. I told him if he sleeved up a Standard deck, I would gladly put him under the camera. Dave is a stalwart of this shop, mostly an EDH player, but he's playing a Turbo Fog variant, trying to win off of Labratory Maniac against John Ellington, who's playing just a Rakdos homebrew. So we'll get into the Tier 1 grinder guys here in round 2. There's plenty of good decks in the room. Yes, he didn't sleeve, because
that's what referred to as half-assing.
He's raw dogging it is what he's doing. Everyone just waits. We'll get some deck that you've seen from a Star City event on here shortly. Just have some fun. Yeah. It's only it's the first round of the night. The night is very long. We have a 5-round tournament tonight, as well as a top 8, which means we'll be here to midnight at a minimum. So we've got a smooth 5 hours of coverage ahead of us. Then we have to be up at 6 o'clock Eastern, so that we could. Someone in the chat is mentioning that we must be the guys at the shop that nobody likes because they jam us in the closet with a Windows 95 laptop. You are not entirely wrong. The room is not unlike a broom closet.
Very close.
There's you can fit a lot of brooms in here. I think the quantity of brooms you can fit in here is probably more than your typical closet, but it's still the same quality broom as a broom closet.
I feel like we have more room than Harry Potter would have.
Yes, it is. It is much bigger than his room under the stairs, and our. Yeah, and give me some credit here. I am running Windows XP on this work laptop. See, these are all things that if you subscribe to our Twitch channel, I mean, you're already in there. Might as well sign up for an account and follow us, because we talk all the time about how I do this entire broadcast from a laptop that I get from work. It's all for fun.
Hopefully your boss doesn't get on Twitch and look up Magic videos.
No, he doesn't. So we've seen Dave don't even know what that card is. Do you know what that card is on top there? He's cast it in several iterations, and I don't know what it is.
Well, he's playing the new one that's it's 4 and go search out 2 forests.
Oh, the new Sky Shroud claim.
Yeah. But I don't know that that's what that was. It looked like he searched out more.
It's Ranger's Path, so it is the new Sky Shroud claim. Except this one, they come into play tapped.
That's not true. Dave has fought.
Someone's asking, we've been watching Dave do nothing. That's not true. Dave just spilled all his dice all over the table, and he cast an Archaeomancer. Dave is playing a Turbo Fog deck, so he's not going to be doing anything. Right now, he's going to be eating a lot of damage. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That's going to drop him down. He only took 8. Or took 4, sorry.
My bad. Alright, so he's got another ramp spell in his hand. I feel a little bit bad for Dave because the people watching are they're of a subset of Magic players that don't have a lot of patience for these homebrew casual decks. If you met Dave Brown, you would understand immediately why he deserves his own feature match. And to be fair, if John ends up taking this relatively quickly, we can probably steal game 2 or 3 from another match and slide them over.
Sure. A lot of trolls.
Mm-hmm. While Dave resolves his Forbidden Alchemy, we'd like to thank everyone who stumbled upon our stream, whether it's through Star City's live stream page or just general Magic the Gathering searches on twitch.tv. We appreciate you checking out FNM from Lost Legion Games and Comics in South Charleston, West Virginia, as we are here in round 1 of our first FNM with Return to Ravnica cards.
Devastation Tide seems like it'd be pretty decent here.
For those asking, the combo is Turbo Fog and then Labratory Maniac, which I think is very fragile, but Dave only plays decks that are fun. He's not going to play a deck that he's not going to enjoy playing, so.
At one point he was playing Metalcraft Red with the Mycosynth Wellsprings, and like our...
Dave likes to build his own decks, and there is a beauty in that is unmatched.
Sure.
There's one thing to come in with a deck that you got off the internet or tweet and plow through FNM, but Dave likes to go his own route. So.
And not everyone's competitive. I mean,
like I said, Dave hasn't played FNM in I don't know what, a year.
Probably.
He's at the shop all the time, and he is crushing Commander games. It's a very logical thought when it comes to Magic cards. If you're going to buy Magic cards, buy good ones that you can put in an EDH deck.
Sure.
Because that's never going to rotate. Yep. We just lost all the Innistrad block. We just lost M12. You know what didn't rotate? Any of the cards in Dave's EDH deck. So.
That's true.
So Dave has access to a ton of mana. It's the second Ranger's Path he's resolved. I'm hoping he has some other goodie in there, like an Elder Scale Worm or...
As a side note, he failed to find a second forest.
Well, he has a lot of them out there.
Yeah, he's got those on base.
So, did he just flash back that alchemy?
He flashed back a while back.
Mm-hmm. So what's that card in his hand there in the front? Can you tell what that is?
No.
We will take a collection after this round and buy Dave some sleeves. Actually, Dave does sleeve his EDH decks.
Yeah, it's just if he's only going to play it one time, I think he doesn't bother to sleeve.
Yeah.
And like you pointed out earlier, it's not like he has.
We're not really concerned about him getting a scuff on his Fog or Ranger's Path. Dave, down to a precarious life total of 2. And is this a burn spell? That's the one that does 4 damage to him and
the Rakdos return.
Yeah. What is that card? Boundless Realms?
Yeah, Boundless Realms, the epic ramp spell.
What does it even do? It just gets all the rest of his lands out?
It thins.
But they still dies.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to troll like the half the chat is, but it is curious. But unfortunately, Dave couldn't get anything going there. Such are the perils of playing a fog deck. Sometimes it just doesn't get there. But we appreciate everyone tuning in to the first round of tonight's event. We'll switch over to Studio Cam and take this necessary advertisement off. Like I said, my name is Zachary Evans. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Brett Rose. And we appreciate you all joining us tonight from the middle of nowhere in West Virginia. We do this every week. We'll be doing this tomorrow at West Virginia State's. I'll tell you what I'm going to do now. We've got, 20 minutes left in the round. I'm going to take a quick break here. We'll go out and see if I can find you guys another match to put on the camera. So we'll go silent here for a bit, and then we'll be back shortly. Alright everybody, we are back, and we have a much more competitive set of decks for you. So thank you for indulging our personal favor to Dave Brown. Dave did point out the combo. He was going to win next turn, he said, because I don't remember what the card is, but there is a black card that destroys a land, then you mill cards in your library until you reach a land card, but by that point he had Boundless Realms them all out. And then he had Labratory Maniac in hand, and he was just going to play it out to end the win.
Yeah.
So he was going to combo off the next turn. Unfortunately, he was not given the opportunity to because of John's severe beatdown. So
I'll tell you what, if Dave ever goes up against a mill deck, he's probably going to have it.
Yes, Dave is pre-boarded for all mill archetypes. Alright, more importantly, the two gentlemen in front of you now. On the right is, for those of you who've watched this in the past, is usual co-host Michael Taylor, who is on a he's on a zombies list. I'm not sure. I knew he was building this deck coming into this format, but he tells me it's not the typical zombies list that we should expect. So I don't know what that necessarily means, but I think he's a little bit more controlling. I think he has a little bit more mid-range in him than straight aggro zombies. On the left is Brandon Hart playing a Jund list. It has Farseek and a couple Rakdos, key runes for ramp, and then he's just playing all the good stuff. Strangleroot guys, Thragtusk, 2 Olivias, which I think are amazing, and then a one-of package of Vraska, Flip Garrick, and Big Garrick, Primal Hunter, and Relentless.
And he's got Huntmasters in there.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he does have Huntmasters in there. So this should be a pretty entertaining match. Both these players are well versed in in the decks that they're playing. So, as we see, Michael, we're having some glare problems. I'll try to sort that out in between rounds, but leads off with, is that a crypt or a guild gate? That looks like the gate, doesn't it?
To be honest, I can't even tell.
What was it?
That was a Gravecrawler that just got burned.
Yeah, I apologize that we're having some glare issues. That is the Appetite for Brains that I convinced him to put one of in his sideboard, taking out a Disciple of Bolas. I guess that's where Michael's talking about where he's different than the normal beatdown deck. Yeah, I know that there's glare on the table. We'll figure it out here between rounds. I can't go out and interrupt him during the game, but we'll sort it out. As we see
Messenger hit the board there.
on-curve Messenger from Michael. Disciple of Bolas, I mean, it's a great card and it's good synergy with the Zombies deck, but I think you'd rather top out at 3 than at 4. But I don't know, I guess some of them play Aristocrats, right? As we see...
Does he have red in there?
Yeah, it's the Guildgate.
That's a valid point. Appetite for Brains actually exiles. It doesn't send to the graveyard like most. And
Oh, it does exile?
Oh yeah.
Well, if it comes into play, we'll step out there and have them rectify that. So, as we see Michael land another one. I tested all of these. I had cards out there and testing these beforehand. For glare, and nothing came of it. I mean, it was not that bad when there wasn't any glare when I tested this before we set up. But like I said, we'll sort it out after the. So Disciple is a 2/2.
Disciple of Bolas.
Yeah, I'll sort it out here. Oh, so he's playing Jund, and he just slammed Rancor on his Disciple, putting Brandon on the back foot. So Brandon's going to need very timely Pillar of Flame, or to find the lands he can't seem to find and land a Thragtusk here. So. Disciple's a 2/1. It's a very strong card when you want all of your creatures to go to the graveyard anyway, so. A very interesting choice. Like I said, I know a lot of those decks go to 4 mana for Falconwrath, Aristocrat, or even Olivia. Olivia's a 4 cost too, right? 2 in red and black.
Yeah.
So, interesting choice out of Michael. Setting himself up as more of a...
He's just there for the grind,
control.
yeah.
I don't know what he drew. No, I think it was a Mortars. So he's going to Mortars the Messenger so that he can hope to trade with it in combat here. There's a cavern. Give you 100 guesses as what that cavern is naming.
I would guess demons.
Probably demons.
That seems solid.
Squirrels. So there's the Abrupt Decay, and that should be it, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah, he was doing any removal spell, but I don't know what... I'm trying to see what was in his hand. Yeah, his hand was a bunch of spells that he couldn't cast. There were Peric Relentless, Thragtusk, Olivia.
Huntmaster.
And, is that a Rakdos Charm?
Doesn't look like it.
Let's see if we can get Michael in here and talk to him about his deck.
See exactly what makes it different.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. Brett's going to step out and see if Michael will step in here and discuss a little bit about his deck choice for us. Did you grab him? Mm-hmm. Excellent. So, for anyone just joining us, thanks again for stopping in and checking out our Friday Night Magic stream from Lost Legion Games in beautiful downtown. There he is. Is there a chair in here? Why don't you grab another
I'll stand, it's cool.
Alright. Or Brett, why don't you swap out with Michael?
Sure. Make way.
Make way.
Important people coming through.
So for those of you, as we mentioned before, for those of you who have watched the stream before, you will be familiar with Michael because he co-hosted this very program for a good solid month. But now that there are...
I'm going to go ahead and de-sideboard real quick while we're on camera, if that's cool.
That's fine. We wanted to talk to you about your deck.
Okay.
Because it was a very interesting combination of cards. I remember when I walked out there, you said that it was not your typical aggro zombie deck, and the first time you resolved a Disciple of Bolas, that became pretty clear. Are those main deck Disciples?
A Disciple, yeah. Actually, I built this deck purely with the goal of casting Disciple on dudes that have Rancor on them, and maybe Thragtusk.
Yeah, so all the cards in your deck, for the better part of them, you want to go to the graveyard anyway.
Yeah.
Obviously, cards like, and we'll try to flip through some of them here to give you guys an idea.
It's a really, really rough, just straightforward, a lot of 4-ofs list.
Yeah,
First time I played it.
So obviously, there's a lot of synergy between these cards. Disciple of Bolas, Gravecrawler, and Geralf's Messenger. Obviously, sacking any of them is going to...
That was an autograph, by the way.
Yes, that was...
Not that I totally didn't forget to sign the match set.
Yeah. So obviously, you're getting a lot of value out of there. You're gaining a lot of life. You're drawing a lot of cards, which I think is, sacrificing a Gravecrawler or a Geralf's Messenger that hasn't come back already is a pretty big swing. The healing salve is not arbitrary. I know gaining life isn't nearly as important as a lot of other things, but especially in this matchup where there's a lot of aggressive decks, that 3 life connection can definitely change the race math. And drawing 3 cards is
it's
pretty good.
Pretty big deal.
And we had to look it up on the card viewer, but Disciple of Bolas is not an inconsequential body either. It's a little expensive for a 2/1, but he still gets in there.
He holds the Rancor.
Yeah, that's the one thing we did see on camera there. I was very surprised when you played it. I'm very happy that you're playing the old art Rancors.
Yeah.
But they do give you a lot of value. Obviously, you can just morph into just a straight beatdown deck, just with Gravecrawlers, Diregraf Ghouls. Let's talk about this guy. How good has this guy been for you tonight?
He was actually a little mediocre so far. The only times I really got him out, it was game 2. He had Olivia on the board, so I went on to lose that one.
Olivia can still steal it, right?
If you regenerate it, then she'll be able to steal it. If you just let it die, then you don't have to worry about it.
Is the Sever main board card?
Yeah, got 2 Severs main board, just to have some removal for mid-range decks, like top ends, like Olivia. And it's just an out to entreat the Angels too. They do it main phase.
It's a very good card. It's a card that I'm familiar with a lot from EDH, but it really hoses tokens in EDH, so I can only imagine it does the same thing here. But there's a lot of entreat the Angels specifically, and since you're more mid-range deck anyway, you can. A lot of zombies decks are just trying to race entreat. They're not trying to worry about removing the tokens. They're just trying to beat the deck before they can cast the entreat. But you're playing a little bit slower game, so you need that. And plus, it's great in the mirror.
It's sort of like a hybrid between like black-green zombies and like Jund mid-range, but there's no red in it.
Yeah. Brett was actually curious about that. I remember you saying that you didn't have any. This is a very interesting inclusion as well, which if Disciple of Bolas didn't differentiate your deck from the other beatdown zombies deck, obviously going to 5 and casting a Thragtusk. How many lands are you running?
I'm running 24 lands.
Okay, so the full suite of lands. So that's very interesting.
4 of all the black-green duels, 2 caverns, and then like 10 swamps.
I saw you were running the gates as well.
Yeah.
Your deck can obviously afford to lose that tempo a little bit.
I'm not sad to not have a turn 1 play really. I mean, it can kind of do the pseudo beatdown with 8/1 drops and the Lotleth Trolls and the messengers, but it doesn't necessarily have to do that.
Yeah, so you're running 8/1 drops, the Gravecrawlers, and of course Diregraf Ghoul as well. So do you ever side the Diregraf Ghouls out?
Well, I've only played 2 sideboarded games with it.
That is a good point. So we should point out that this is the second.
I've not brought them out yet. In the last match, I was playing against Jund midrange. I took out a couple of Curse of Death Hold, which you didn't see in there because I haven't put them back in yet.
Oh, so the curses are main.
Yeah, there's 2 curses, and I took out 1 Abrupt Decay, and I brought in 3 Lilianas just to have something else to kill Olivia with. Unfortunately, he had some more dudes on the board, so that didn't work out. But.
Yeah, so as Michael was just saying, his removal package hinges on 2 curses main. And again, because you're going up to such a high end, you're playing more. Your deck is it's a pretty classic mid range in the sense that you can sideboard or shift into the beatdown, or you can shift into aggro. And then of course the new card from Return to Ravnica, Abrupt Decay, which is seeing a lot of discussion. It actually saw a lot of discussion on our YouTube channel, which for those of you who would like to follow us on YouTube, all of our previous events are archived and available on YouTube. But someone was discussing this because last week one of the players in our draft happened to pack one of these in his draft. He didn't actually play it because he ended up not having. He wasn't in those colors and he couldn't splash it.
Yeah.
But people were talking about it, whether it was really worth the hype that it was receiving. I think it's very much a real card, especially in Legacy. I think people who aren't familiar with Legacy don't recognize how valuable that effect can be. Being able to kill a counterbalance is pretty impressive. So I think we've pretty much gone through everything you've got in here. Is there anything I've missed?
I think so. I mean, the basic plan of the deck is if they're more aggressive than you, then you try to get to your Thragtusk and your Curse of Death Hold. If they're less aggressive than you just try to beat them down. And Disciple is there just so you have that mid-range fallback plan of filling your hand back up and just doing it again.
As someone was pointing out, I probably should have done this earlier, but no one needs to know who you are, right? Should update at some point. There it is, Michael Taylor.
Those are proxies.
Okay, so we have these alternate art Disciple of Bolas, which
There's also an alternate Thragtusk in there.
You see, alternate art Thragtusk.
They were main deck right up until before the tournament.
Let's talk about the board you've got here.
Okay, this is going to be difficult because there was literally zero thought put into the sideboard. I threw it together right before the tournament. I looked at a bunch of cards and says, these look like good sideboard cards, and
well, obviously, I mean, it's a new format. This is a new deck for you. You haven't played, and we talked before, you haven't played Standard in quite a while. You've been waiting for the new cards to come out. So just in general, Vampire Nighthawk, what are you bringing that in? I mean, obviously, it's good in the mirror. It's good against any aggro deck. So.
Yeah, Vampire Nighthawk, it's good against zombies. It's good against the white-green mid-range decks. It can take out a Sigarda if they get that out, because there's nothing else in the deck that can do it.
Right.
Basically just a good card.
It also has a nice feature of having evasion, and with your Rancors, I mean, it's not an irrelevant...
Build your own Baneslayer Angel, basically.
You can do that. Let's talk about these bad boys. This one is a little bit more... I think it's not so much throw together. I think this is a very Deathrite Shaman.
I don't know that I would side him in against zombies, even though he's probably fine in that match. I really just put him in there in case I run into a Reanimator deck. I want to have something to interact with the graveyard.
He's very solid, removing any threats, burial rights, reanimation targets, whatever. And also the fact that he has other modes that he can be used for to gain life and aggro.
He may even come in a hardcore control matchup just to kind of, hit him for 2 every turn, because they're going to be playing lots of instants and sorceries.
Sure. It's a very good card. You're going to see a lot of play in a lot of formats. 3 Duress. I see a lot of 3s in here.
Yeah, and did not have appetite for brains, so Duress was my backup plan.
Yeah, I was talking earlier in the stream.
Got to hit Planeswalkers with something.
I was looking at Brandon's list earlier, the gentleman who lost to Michael in the round you just saw, and we talked about putting in at least 1 appetite for brains, because it does answer a lot of the threats that are really going to, or not threats necessarily, but answers that are really going to have a bad effect on his deck. It's going to get Terminus, it gets Supreme Verdict, it gets Jace, it gets Garruk Relentless, it gets a lot of things he has a hard time interacting with.
It gets Olivia, which Duress does not.
Yeah, Olivia,
I want to switch to Appetite as soon as I can.
I don't think people here definitely haven't realized how good Olivia is. I think it's pretty aware in the grand scheme of things how good that card is, but it's very good. Then we've got 3 Pithing Needles.
Just all-purpose out to Jace and Tameo.
Yeah, it's a pretty good Planeswalker card. I was very excited when they reprinted this card.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that we would not have suffered through the summer of Callblade last summer if they had just left Pithing Needle and Oblivion Ring in the main set. So fortunately they didn't, and so that happened. And then finally, I saw you actually bring these in against Brandon.
Yeah, which she made it into the sideboard just because, it's a good card, and I've had them forever and never had a chance to play with them, and I really wanted to play with them, so just, put them in there in a control matchup, they'll probably come in.
This This is an excellent Magic card. So.
I have 0 experience playing this deck other than round 1 of this Friday Night Magic, so...
Well, that's a very interesting thing. You know, this is the first tournament. We've mentioned it before in the stream, and it bears repeating. This is the first tournament that most of our players have had playing Standard with this new event. Star City Game event in Cincinnati is actually only 3.5 hours away last weekend. That is regional for us here in West Virginia, but not a lot of our players make that trip. This is the first go-around for a lot of these guys. I'm being handed the pairing sheet, I believe.
Alright, I guess.
Okay. Sure.
Back it up, get ready for round 2.
Absolutely. So, Michael, best of luck. Thank you for coming in and talking to us.
Thank you very much.
We will go, I'm going to take a quick break here. We're going to grab Brett back. We're going to find you guys another match, and then we will return shortly.